Like, you know how some people are like, oh, I tried using ChatGPT and the results were bad. I'm like, no, you were bad at prompting it. That's what happened. So it's really teaching you like how to use these tools, but then also really how to think differently about life, like from like meal planning to travel to like I don't know, using it as like a relationship coach.
Hey everybody, this is Eddie Babbage, founder, CEO of Timeline Genius, your host here of the Wedding Industry Insider Podcast, back with another great episode for you. I am here with Mycah Bain. She is the owner of Mycah Bain Photography, which is a team of photographers based in Minneapolis, focusing on brands, weddings, and portraits. Mycah, thank you so much for taking time to do this interview with me today.
Thanks, Eddie. I'm excited to be here.
I am excited to have you here. We are going to talk about a topic that I very genuinely, at this point in my career, I've been an entrepreneur for about 20 years now, started 3 companies, and I firmly believe that mindset is the key to business success, no matter what kind of business. I mean, heck, you could probably even call it success in life, no matter what kind of business you've got. And I think it's deceptive because we tend to look at exterior things that can be measured and touched and all of this, but mindset is really the thing that kind of yields those. And you and I are going to get into the topic of mindset. So I want people to stick around. We're going to talk about money mindset. We're going to talk about people's mindsets toward learning and tools. But before we do all of that, Mycah, will you just tell our listeners a little bit more about your background and give us a quick overview of how you got to be where you currently are in the industry?
Yes, thank you. So yeah, the brief summary is I started as a photographer back when I was in college. I was living in the Middle East one summer and then in Uganda and East Africa the following fall. So I figured that was the perfect chance to buy a camera, take a photography class, and then I absolutely loved it. When I was traveling and living abroad, I figured I was going to be the next National Geographic photographer. I just had such a great time. I had this unfounded confidence and just really fell in love with telling stories. So that, you know, that was my beginning when I was 20. And over the years, I have moved, I've shifted the business. And over the last couple of years, I did like a full business relaunch and I've really leaned into growing a team, which has been so exciting because all those years as a, you know, there's a limit on what one person can do by themselves. You only can be in one place at one time. And now that I have an incredible team of photographers and behind the scenes support, it's just been so exciting to see what we can do, the clients we can serve, and the moves we can make.
I love that. Love it, love it, love it. And there's lots there to unpack. I have to ask, what took you to the Middle East and Uganda?
I was, when I was in college, I was double majoring in religious studies and anthropology. So I just
Ooh,
wanted to like see the world. I wanted to meet new people. I wanted to get totally outside of my comfort zone. And the reasons I had picked those locations is I wanted to go somewhere that I figured might be a little bit more challenging to roll up as, you know, a young blonde woman. So I figured I was eliminating Europe and I was eliminating Spanish speaking countries because I speak Spanish not perfectly, but I can get by. And so, anyway, I just really wanted to embrace some new cultures and see the world. And that as the beginning of so many adventures. I've been to nearly 50 countries and I'm traveling all the time. And it's just like, it's my love. It's such a passion of mine.
wow, you told me traveling in the pre-interview, but I didn't realize the extent of it. Like, you're
Yeah,
like, that's
it's pretty
really
intense.
cool. Very cool. And what's, if you had to kind of like, if you had to pinpoint, I mean, I know we all know the virtues of traveling, that it makes us, just it broadens our horizons and these things. But if you had to kind of, I mean, like, I know that, and yet I don't make it a priority to travel anywhere near. I did earlier in life, but now I don't. Like, what is it that
Yeah.
really drives you to get on those planes and travel as much as you
Yeah.
do?
That's a good question. I think it's a variety of things. I mean, I think it's a reminder that like, you know, I am so small and like my experience is just, of one person in the city where I live, like surrounded by the people I'm surrounded with. So I think it reminds me that like the world is just so big. There's so many beautiful people and beautiful perspectives. And I think the more that I travel to different places and meet new people, then I'm able to just see that there are so many ways to live and to be a person. And I think that just like leads me to a lot more like empathy and understanding. And I also just love like, I feel very like creatively fueled. Actually, last night I just booked a trip to Mexico City. So I'm going there in a couple weeks. And I'm really looking forward to just being surrounded by like, a culture that I already know I love, like colors, textures, sounds, smells. Like I love the full immersive experience. So I think like having like embracing that creativity really fuels me like as a person, and I think rejuvenates me as like a creative and a business owner as well.
Super cool. And does it intersect? I'm assuming that it does with your photography. When you go to places, is your camera like constantly out, and are you growing and getting inspiration as a photographer?
It kind of depends on the trip. So I think sometimes I like to not bring my like big, big camera. Sometimes I'll
Mm-hmm.
switch it up and like actually for Mexico City, I'm like, I want to bring this new film camera just to try something new, push myself creatively. And then sometimes I love to take photos on my phone. Or sometimes I just need a break from photos and want to just be present. So I think it depends, but sometimes I'll be doing like work for clients or tour companies or travel agencies or boutique hotels or something. So there's a wide variety of ways I've approached it throughout the years.
It's interesting, Mike, as we were, I told you in the pre-interview that what I typically try to focus on with the podcast is the business side of wedding planning,
Yeah,
and being a wedding industry professional. And it's interesting because I sense from you, and I think you said it, like I think most people that get into this industry, they fall in love with celebrating love, which is a beautiful thing to
yeah,
have that passion for your specific trade as a
hmm
photographer or planner. When
hmm
I talk to you, though, I sense a passion for photography, but also a passion for business. Like, which of
yeah.
those are they driving you in equal parts at this point in your career? Or would you say, no, I'm still first, foremost, and will always be a passionate photographer? Like, how do those passions kind of mix and drive you today?
I think it's shifted a lot over the years. I mean, the beginning was for sure fully only photo, and I still
Mm-hmm.
really do love photography. And like, there are moments on photo shoots with clients or even on my own personal time where I just get like really fueled and excited. And also, I think over the last couple of years, what really kind of motivates me the most is building a business that is going to continue supporting my life and my dreams, but even bigger than that, like I want to continue building something that's bigger than me so I can like employ people, provide jobs, provide really cool opportunities for people who work with me, and also to continue to build a business that is more and more profitable so I can be generous with like the loved ones in my life and in my circle, but then I can also be generous with organizations and nonprofits that I feel like are doing meaningful things in the world. And I think that's really when I think long term about like, okay, as I continue growing and scaling this business, why do I want to do that? It is so I can really lean further and deeper into that generosity, because I feel like the more money I make, then the more money I can give, and that will just like continue to increase the impact.
That is beautiful. I love that. It's funny. This is going to seem random, but it totally connects in my mind. I just reread for the umpteenth time the book "Can't Hurt Me" by David Goggins, which is. Have you ever heard of him by
Yeah,
chance?
I've heard of him, but I haven't read that book. I've listened
It's
to some interviews though.
just extraordinary, and he's not everybody's cup of tea, but just
Yeah,
like remarkable. But he talks about what we all know, and many people, I guess, espouse is that like there's so much power when you're anchoring your purpose to something larger than yourself, which I
yeah,
personally think there's almost like too much sensitivity around like, oh, it's wrong to like want a bigger house. Like, I think that's beautiful and that's
yeah.
inspiring to want better things for yourself.
hmm
I have no problem with that. But to also have encompassed in your dreams and ambition and purpose
Mhm.
this notion of like seeing this broader world and wanting to help and leave the world a better place. I think it's powerful and beautiful to see.
I totally
Uh,
agree. And I think long term, like, yes, getting the bigger house or the fun things that you like to spend your money on, like, those are fun and those are worth celebrating and good accomplishments. Like, I love bribing myself. Like, I do this all the time, even in this, like, I always buy a cake every time I hit a business goal. Like, even this fun necklace I bought when I hit a business goal. Like, it was not any crazy investment, but I think it's just like worth being like, hey, I did this and I want to celebrate. But I think in the long term, like, I mean, any study you read about people at the end of their lives, it's not like they're like, oh, I'm so happy because I piled up all this room full of beautiful items and whatever is your cup of tea, whether it's cars or jewelry or watches or purses. Like, yeah, those things are fun, but like at a certain point, like there's more, you know? So I think having like anchoring into that bigger purpose is, I don't know, that just feels to me so exciting and much more sustainable.
I love that so much. It's funny. One of my nearest and dearest friends, we've known each other since we were 7 years old. We have this like running debate, and I think this is all relevant because we're going to talk about money mindset. And it's something I think sometimes it's almost considered like impolite and inappropriate to talk about money. But if you're in business, like, let's talk about it. Right.
Yeah.
But I think, his position is like, I know people say money can't buy happiness, but in reality, it kind of does. And if you're feeling sad, then go buy a car, right? Like if you have enough money. And I'm like, I appreciate like just the candor and honesty. And I
Yeah.
do think that like the absence of money can obviously breed stress and worries, like,
Yes.
and they've studied this. There's a book called The Happiness Hypothesis where they've
Yep.
literally studied this. And if you're below a certain line
Hmm.
of income and you've got creditors calling and you can't have the food you want, whatever, like,
Hmm.
that's obviously going to beget problems. But what statistically or has been shown is like above a certain point where your basic needs are being met, like, we think it's going to make us happier, but it's not. Like, it's really
Hmm.
these bigger
Hmm.
things that are the drivers of fulfillment in life. I don't know if that, like, if that resonates with you. Again, not to diminish, because I think it's another pothole to step in to be like, money doesn't matter. Be like, oh, no, 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 don't. You can't go
Yeah.
pay your bank, your kid's education or whatever with love. Like, it doesn't work that
Yeah.
way. But I don't know. It's interesting to hear you say that.
Yeah, no, that totally resonates where it's like, yes, yes, money absolutely matters. And again, like the more I feel like you can make impact if you have no money, if you have $1 billion. Like, and also the person with more money again can really grow their impact, you know? Like that is
Yes.
just simply a fact. And I think like also as I've been learning a lot more about myself, like even in this last couple of years I've had some different seasons of like, ups and downs financially, and those seasons where things have been like a little bit tighter, I do not feel good, like, and I think that's where I've been working on leaning
Absolutely.
into the money mindset, but like so I can feel like safe and regulated no matter how much money is or isn't in my bank account. But like, yeah, those seasons where things are tight, like I feel that tightness in my chest. And like, so I can't even imagine for people where it's like they're feeling that all the time and they have to like care for kids or a family. Like, again, what a gift to be able to have so much money that you can like donate and like relieve some of that stress for people who are going through different seasons. Like, I don't know. I feel like it's kind of like all connected there.
I agree. So, in the pre-interview, we were, musing about, various topics we could cover here. We obviously only have a short amount of time, and the topics that kind of came to mind for you that would allow us to deliver maximum impact here to help the people that are listening. The first was money mindset. We're already kind of talking about it, but let's just kind of squarely, like, what is it that like you have in mind when you just say the topic money mindset?
I think for me, when I think back to my like evolution over the last, say, 5 years on this topic, I think when I was able to give myself permission to want to earn more money,
Mm,
like giving myself that permission slip was huge because I like when I relaunched everything, like 5 years ago, like my business started, it was doing really well. Great. Okay. Perfect. I hit my first original, I was like, let me see if I can make six figures again. Okay. I hit it. And I was like, what if I can double that? What if you know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? But I think
Mm-hmm.
at first I was like, oh, well, is that kind of selfish? I already have my house. I can already pay
Wow.
my bills. I already can like
Wow.
get the things that I want. So like, should I even want more? Like, am I being greedy? So I
Mm.
think that was like a very, and I don't know, like obviously where like the culture of how I grew up, and I think maybe this could potentially be more resonant to women or people from like different backgrounds where we're maybe taught to be like, well, enough is enough. Like why should you want more? Like you
Were
can
you
do the
taught
things you
that
want.
explicitly or
Not not
indirectly?
not explicitly, but I think it was like such an emphasis on like I think I grew up in a very like experience forward family and like
Mm-hmm.
yeah, so which I love and I like really admire my parents and like want to emulate a lot of that, but it was not I think I kind of like indirectly picked up on messages on like rich people are bad, rich people are selfish, like
Mm.
those kinds of things. Like
Mm.
I
Mm.
don't feel that I was told that, but I think I just
Mm-hmm.
kind of like caught that. And I lived in Santa Barbara for from when I was like 18 to 25, which is in a wildly wealthy city. So I think, I
Mm-hmm.
had all these experiences working
Mm-hmm.
for all of these like quote unquote really rich people, um, and just getting a glimpse into their lives,
What
which
were
was
you
super
doing for them,
interesting. I
Mycah?
think taught me a lot. Everything. I mean, this was like through college, so I was like their nanny. I was their personal assistant. I one
Gotcha.
time
Okay.
was hired to like clean baseboards for a house.
Yep.
Like I was a like security for a party, like a life,
Mm-hmm.
like literally anything. Because
Mm-hmm.
I was hustling hard. I'm like I was I needed to pay for my education, so I
Mm-hmm.
needed to make
Mm-hmm.
money. So I got a glimpse into kind of like the richest of the riches, like daily lives, and I think maybe caught some messages of like, oh, these people, they're. I think I just kind of gathered messages of like, oh, they're wanting too much, or they're doing this, or they're doing that. But I think
Oof.
as I've been able to
Oof.
step back and be like, okay, like money, like I don't think that having more money does make you happy. Like, absolutely,
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that's
Mm-hmm.
accurate because I
Mm-hmm.
worked for some very unhappy people with more money than
Amen.
I could count.
Amen. Amen.
Um, and also, I don't think that seeking to build a profitable business and a big life, I don't think that is inherently selfish. I think someone can be selfish or selfless no matter how much money they have. I think
I agree.
is my
I think it
summary.
amplifies who we are. Like
Yes. Yes.
if you're a crappy, mean person,
Yep.
giving you more money is going to give you more power
Yep.
in our society, and
Yep.
you're
Yep.
probably just going to use that to crappy ends. But if
Yep.
you're like a wonderful, I have you ever read? Have you heard of Jen Sincero? You're a badass at making money.
Yes. Yeah. I read that book. Yeah.
I love that book so much
Yeah.
because that's what
Uh-huh.
she says. She's like, I hope that me and my friends and the people like us acquire money because we're gonna do wonderful things with it.
Yeah.
Like I can hear your
Yeah.
heart, and it doesn't feel feigned or contrived. It doesn't feel like I'm going to make up this like narrative. No, I sense from you like you want to help this world. You realize you're just a part of it and you want to be an empathetic and better person. Like, please go make money, Mycah. Like,
Yeah.
go help those organizations and make the world a better place. But what's
Yeah.
fascinating to me, and I meant it very sincerely at the beginning of the interview when I was like, I feel like this is the thing. And I wouldn't have said this 20 years ago, 15 years ago, but like the more I've kind of grown as a person and just learned about myself through business, because I think entrepreneurship just teaches us about ourselves in these like
Yes.
profound ways, the more you start to see that there's this like blueprint that we have around money.
Mm-hmm.
And it emerges like what I'm hearing from you. We come into this world sponges. We have
Mm-hmm.
no views, whatever, and we start seeing all these things. Sometimes it's the things that like our parents are telling us or teachers are telling us, but sometimes
Mm-hmm.
it's just the things we're seeing in the way that people behave. And over the course of our years in development, without consciously deciding on what our money blueprint will be, we develop one through all of
Mhm.
these inputs. And it's really cool to me and admirable that you went to the meta place and looked at, wait a minute, what is my code here, my money blueprint? Like, what inspired you to kind of step back and look at yourself and say, wait a minute, I have the belief that having money is kind of bad. I need to question that and maybe get in there and tweak that belief. Like, what led to that for you?
I think maybe the first time that I started thinking about this was a conversation with another entrepreneur friend that I met her in my early 20s, and we've stayed in touch over the years. And she's always been really good at calling me out. So I think at one point I basically said to her, like, I'm making enough money. Like I'm good. I don't need to do more than this.
Mm,
And she was
mm,
so she just like asked me a series of questions because she knew
mm,
me and knew my values, my
mm,
priorities, and
mm, mm.
essentially got me to the point where it was like, hey, if you make more money, then you can support all these things you care about and like have
Wow.
an even greater impact. So instead of donating X amount per month, you could double it, triple it, 10, 100 times it. And I'm like, oh, that, I mean, obviously it was not like oh, great. Okay. Now I'm good to
Yeah,
go.
sure. Yeah,
But that
yeah,
was kind of
yeah.
like the impetus to like a long series of, I think a lot of reading and podcasts and thinking through this. And I think even in this last year, I've made like some, like a lot of growth on the mindset. And even I was reflecting like on like the last month alone. I was like, wow, it's crazy to see how fast things can kind of keep growing and evolving when I like set these goals. And it's interesting because this last year, when I said, oh, I've made a lot of growth this last year, I really think a lot of it is because I was working with like a personal relationship coach for the last 10 months. And it was not about money. It was not about that at all. But I think since I was doing so much like self work and really diving into like, why am I doing these things? How do I kind of like reprogram my thought process around all these different experiences? That has just like been totally transformative for me.
That is so cool. I mean, it's so fulfilling and so rewarding, like when we work on ourselves, right?
Yeah.
Like self improvement is just like, I mean, that's the elixir. So what is it that if you, well, let's just talk books, courses, coaches, kind of what have been some of, and I just want to quickly, as a quick aside here, I want people to think about your story, but as it pertains to them, because everybody, they may not have, our listeners right now, the exact same self-limiting beliefs that you were
Hmm.
having. But I do believe that all of us have these uninterrogated self-limiting beliefs that if we could see them and focus on them and rewrite them, it would just unleash like untold growth and progress. So I want people to kind of like have their hamsters turning and
Hmm.
looking, introspectively at kind of their own beliefs as we talk about this. But as we think about this sort of evolution that started with your conversation with your friend, what are some of the key other sort of sources for growth around money mindset, books, courses, coaching, anything else that I'm not asking about?
Yeah. I mean, I have listened to or like read and listened to so many books throughout the years. I don't necessarily know that I have one specific on like money mindset per se that I was
Mm-hmm.
like, oh, this
Mm-hmm.
like really was it for
Mm-hmm.
me.
Mm-hmm.
Although I've enjoyed different ones. I think one that I've re-listened to this year is 10x is easier than 2x.
My wife loves
That
that. Yeah, in
one,
her colleague.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, so good. I think that's something that I'll continue coming to time and again. Again, it's not necessarily like money focused, but I think
No,
it's
it is.
more like,
Absolutely, it is.
yeah, because it's like more like like what is possible, like totally tearing down what you think is possible. Like, so I think a lot of times when, like you're setting a goal, it's like, oh, I want to get 10% better, or grow my business by 50%, or even double
Yes.
it. And what I
Yes.
love about this book is like, nope, tear it all down. What would it look like to do 10x? So I think that has really been transformative and given me the encouragement to like lean into like hard conversations. Like this year I've hired and fired more people than ever before. Like, do I ever like firing someone? No, but I've gotten much more I've gotten a little way better at myself at hiring and hiring, so I don't have to fire so much. But I think I've also just been much more clear on like, hey, this is what I hired you to do. This is where we are now. I need it turned around in this amount of time, and if that's not possible, this is not a good fit. Because I think that what I've realized is when I lower the standard for one person, that lowers the standard for everyone, and then that lowers like the potential of growth for the business. So it's really like a disservice to not only the person who's dropping the ball, but also myself, everyone else on the team, my
And the people
clients.
you serve. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Like and even the future of the business and like my future, the future goals that I have.
Your
So I
family and
think
everybody you want to support, the whole operation.
exactly. Yeah, so I think that's given me the courage to like lean into these harder conversations because I like people like I don't know, I care about people and usually when people are dropping the ball, they're going through something in their personal life. So I'm like, yeah, I care and also I still need you to come through. So, yeah,
Mycah,
it's been
that
challenging.
is in an, and I love this, and I was sensing this as you were talking about team. This is a very juicy and meaningful topic, I think, and it's a subset of mindset. I love how you connected it back to the reason why I'm able to do this. If you don't have that bigger purpose in mind, then you
Hmm.
don't necessarily have it. All emanates from that like sort of mindset, like to have the wherewithal, the courage to do the
Hmm.
uncomfortable thing. I think it's Alex Hormozy that said basically when you start realizing how beneficial having the tough conversations is and how
Hmm.
much growth that unlocks, he's like, you can turn into a little bit of a junkie where you're like, where's the next one that I need to have that I've been putting off that's holding me back? I'm like, that's an interesting idea. And I will say, Mycah, and I think this will resonate actually with a lot of the people listening right now because wedding planners by their very nature, I think are I don't want to overgeneralize here, but they're hardwired to please, right? That's what
Yes.
we do. We
Yeah.
serve. And I'm so sympathetic to empathetic with like what you just said. Like I love people. I see the best in people and I want
Hmm.
people to just love me, not from a
Hmm.
standpoint of I just want to make people happy in this life.
Yeah.
That's how I was born. And I almost look jealously sometimes at the CEOs that seem to just have no problem just cutting. And I'm just going to say the controversial thing. I'm like, I don't like ticking people off. Like I like, you know, people being cordial, but as a CEO, you do have to do these tough things. So I want to just drill a little further into that.
Yeah.
Um, how do you balance um, these tough conversations, firing, etc., in the scope of like your resources? Do you fight some voice that's like, well, what if I go through the hassle of firing this person and I can't find the next good person to replace them, and I don't really have the money to hire somebody that's like at a significantly different pay grade? Like, does any of
Yeah.
that stuff enter your thought process?
Definitely. And I think, yeah, I mean, even as recently as this week, I kind of went through this whole journey in my head because needed to have a hard conversation with someone, and I was like, oh my goodness, you know, what if it doesn't go well? Like what's going to happen? And then I kind of like I've gotten more in the practice of like playing this out. Okay, so what's the worst case scenario? She is so mad she quits on the spot. And then I have a gap and I don't have someone to train in the new person. So I'm like playing it out in my head and I'm like, yeah, that would definitely be not great. I will not be happy if that happens. And also I will find someone new and I'll train them in and we'll get it sorted out in a couple months. And if I don't have this conversation and I let things keep slipping and slipping and slipping and slipping, that's going to be worse for sure. Like, but I think a lot of times, kind of landing in that like indecision is, you know
Yeah.
what I mean, or like just avoiding something like seems easier, but it's not. And I mean, it's not. Maybe. Well, I don't know what's easier, but it's not better for the long run. That's for sure. So I think that's what motivates me.
You know, it's funny. I feel like so much of the secret of entrepreneurial success lies in navigating the gray area because we hear
Hmm.
these seemingly opposing pieces of advice. Um, and it's hard to just blindly and rigidly apply one. For example, as a student of entrepreneurship, like you see, like I just love books about entrepreneurs and you see like, okay, Bill Gates, right? Like, and the team that he surrounded himself with was just like Paul Allen. I'm like, they're both just these like giants, right?
Hmm.
Rest in peace, Paul. And it could lead one like, Mark Zuckerberg and Dustin Moskovitz. Like, it can lead one to think that like, your standard needs to be for somebody to be on your team that it's a hell yeah, right? Like anything less, because team is everything, right? Like your team is so vitally important. But on the flip side, let's say I'm a wedding planner or photographer and I'm just starting out and I'm like, well, I also have to kind of take what the defense gives me. Maybe the person that I'm interviewing is what's here today and what I have the resources to pay for today. Like, how do you kind of balance that? Is your threshold, is your criterion for somebody on your team that it has to be like a hell yeah, A plus, or and otherwise you kind of have these awkward chats, or is it yeah? Do you understand what I'm saying there?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I mean, I think in my mind it needs to be like at least an A minus, like, or
Gotcha.
at least like trainable. And I think I also have different standards for different types of positions. So like my
Mm-hmm.
photographers, I need their personality to be an A plus. I'm like, if
Right.
their photos have like a little room for improvement, that's learnable.
Right. Right.
Their
Right.
personality is not there. Like, sorry,
Right.
man, I'm not here to be your life coach. Like,
Right on.
I
Yeah.
got other stuff to do. So I think in that regard, yes. And actually, I think I kind of have the same approach for my behind the scenes team, where like I want them to be a learner. Like I'm very into AI right now. So like my
Oh
team
my
and I are
God.
like,
Me
I'm
too.
like I'm like, we have to learn this. Like we need to like do this as your
Absolutely.
homework. Where I'm like, I'm
Yes.
literally paying you to learn AI. Like, do you understand how valuable this is? Like A, for your time
Yeah.
with me, and B, for your future. So I'm like
Yes.
reminding them what like not to hype myself up, but to be like, this is actually a crazy opportunity for you guys. So, like, please embrace it. And also, it's a requirement to embrace it. Like, I even on my team today, I told them, if any of you aren't like all in on AI, tell me now, because we're gonna end this now. Like, you're allowed to not want to do it, but like that's not what's gonna work for us, because this is the future and this is where we're going.
Yeah, I love that so much. I literally was just talking my wife's ears off. I'm listening to a book right now about AI, Demis Hassabis Hamilton, and it made me think. Actually, I was just thinking about it when we were talking about like thinking big, that 10x mentality,
Yeah.
because you realize like, oh wait, sometimes when we're not thinking big, we don't even realize we're not thinking big enough because we're just kind of like in our own world. If we knew we
Hmm.
weren't thinking big, we would have been thinking differently from the beginning.
Right.
And then you read and like I'm like this guy Demis Hassabis, who's like one of these AI pioneers. I'm like, oh snap, this dude was literally trying to solve the secrets of the universe when he was inventing DeepMind and building. I'm like, talk about ambition. He knew from day one, like millions of dollars would be needed. It's just like a reminder for all of us to think big. And I really do hear you. So from an AI standpoint, and I feel like I can excuse this little indulgence in this topic because I do want to talk with you, and we tease the idea of talking about leaning into tools.
Yeah.
So we're just going to kind of jump around here a little
Hmm.
bit. We're still coming back to more money mindset stuff, but I've talked to planners about AI. As a photographer and business owner, how are you thinking about AI?
As a wedding planner, you know how important it is to create detailed wedding day timelines for your events. But creating your timelines can be a tedious and time-consuming job. Until now. Because Timeline Genius lets you create beautiful, detailed wedding day timelines with ease. And it keeps everything you need on the wedding day in one central place. Here's how it works. First, Timeline Genius saves all your clients, vendors, and venues in your Rolodex, so you don't lose time looking for their information. And when you're ready to create a new timeline, you simply enter the key information for your wedding. Click a button, and voila! Timeline Genius magically gives you a customized timeline for your event, where all the details are laid out and the times are calculated for you. From there, you can easily edit your timeline by adding or deleting items, inserting images, changing font styles, and customizing everything to your liking. You can also instantly shift the times for as many items as you want. And when it comes to your clients and vendors, Timeline Genius lets you give them the highest level of service. You can send them tailored timelines showing only the items they're involved in. And you can collaborate by inviting them to a mobile-friendly, web-based version of the timeline. You can even set text message reminders to automatically go out on the wedding day. And once you've completed your perfect timeline, you can download it or email it out as a beautifully styled PDF. And that's Timeline Genius, a smart software that will help take your wedding planning to the next level. Start your free trial today.
I mean, I am using AI all the time. I think for me, the biggest thing is just like rewiring how I think about things, how I approach problems, and how I like approach my daily work. So I'm really working to get myself in the habit where I'm like looking at my to-do list and be like, how can I utilize AI for this? So like one small example is right now I'm having my behind the scenes team go through and just kind of, because their job descriptions have changed from when I hired them to what they're doing now. So I'm like, hey, can you over the next 2 weeks go through and keep track of everything you're doing on a daily, weekly, monthly, quarterly, annually basis, so we can really just get it super organized in Notion, and we don't need to keep like reinventing the wheel. So I'm like, okay, I'm having them do that. I should do that as well. As you know, that makes sense because also, what am I doing as the owner? Some days I don't know. So I've been like meaning to do this, and I'm like, wait, I can just use. I have, for example, I really love Claude, and in Claude I have like a brand guardian, where it's like knows a ton of info about me and the business. So I'm planning to just like go on a walk. I do my best thinking when I'm walking. I see you're standing. I'm standing too. Like I can't sit. I'm too antsy. So I'm like going on a walk with my phone, like voice memoing into there about what. So like that's my plan for later today is to just yap for 10, 20 minutes about like as much that I do on, like I said, day, week, month, annual basis. And then prompt it to be like, can you help me organize this? And then we'll just kind of go back and forth for a while. And then I'm going to have that. Like, how useful is that? Like, so useful. And that's just like the tiniest example. Like, I mean, I'm using it for really everything. I've been taking this class from Callan Faulkner. She has it's like a 10 or a 12-week series. So, and then now she has like a monthly community. So I'm taking it for the third time right now, like literally the same thing, but third time, except for it's not the same thing because last fall and last spring to now has changed so many times. So it's just really been like.
What's the course?
The name of the course is A2A, and the founder is Callan Faulkner.
Mm-hmm.
But
what's the course cover?
So much. So basically I think it's 10 or 12 weeks, and it's really, I think it's primarily for like business owners or marketing people, or like probably, I mean, I think it would be useful for literally anyone, but it's talking about like how to use ChatGPT, how to use Claude. Like, you know how some people are like, oh, I tried using ChatGPT and the results were bad. I'm like, no, you were bad at prompting it. That's what happened. So it's really teaching you like how to use these tools, but then also really how to think differently about life, like from like meal planning to travel to like, I don't know, using it as like a relationship coach, like all of these different things. So that's why I maybe kind of take back what I said about it being for business owners. I think it's just like a useful tool for anyone who wants to continue like learning and growing. We use it for marketing, like literally, I mean, I use this for writing job descriptions, for figuring out how to have hard conversations. Like, the better that you can get at like using these tools and prompting, I feel like it's like literally life-changing. And I'm not being dramatic there. I'm being so serious.
No, I am so with you on this, Mycah. Like, I can't even tell you. You know, I had the thought. So, you know, ever since ChatGPT first came out, I guess that's November 2 or 3. I'm losing track of the years. But basically, I keep having these moments where I'm like, just these quantum, just like, oh my God, I can't believe this can do this. And I was just musing to myself a few months ago. I was like, if OpenAI wanted to extort me and charge, you know, let's say I couldn't go to another competing, you know, app, and there was one source of like generative AI and they could charge me maximum dollars. I'm
Yeah.
scared to think of how much money I would pay
Oh,
every month to
totally.
have access
Yeah.
because and what's amazing is it's so cheap. The technology, because of the competitive,
I
it's so cheap.
know.
Like
I
it's
know.
crazy.
Yeah, it
Like
is.
how the ROI, and I'm just like you. Like I mean, literally just download everything about like my professional history and story,
Yeah.
my goals. This is what I want to do with the company. What's the
Yeah.
plan, the marketing, all of those things. Like it is just staggeringly, even as a parent, like the
Oh,
amount of
sure.
benefit is just staggering. And I just, yeah, you have those moments where you're like, and I really do think, you might enjoy it actually. There's a book called, it's called Supremacy. And it's kind of, I'm just fascinated by this. I read book after book about it, watch videos about it all day. Like this is like my thing, but I just feel like you could say like, this is the last technology that humans will need to invent. Because once we
Yes.
reach AGI, like once AI becomes sufficiently advanced, like it's like okay, like it's way smarter than us now,
Yeah.
so what are we even talking about in terms of us solving the problems if this thing is like 50 times smarter or like 1,000 times smarter than Einstein? Anyway, I don't want to
Yeah.
wax too philosophical, but
No,
it's so
it's
powerful.
yeah, it is. It is. And I think like the use cases are really endless, and the amount of
Yeah,
times where I've been
so
like
true.
trying to, you know, learning like the number of times that I've like cried being like, this is exactly what I think. Like, when I'm trying to
Yeah,
kind of put my thoughts together,
yeah,
it's been,
yeah,
yeah, a game
yeah.
changer.
Well, I want to pop back to money mindset and then back again to tools, and AI is the tool, right? Like
Yeah,
right now, like
absolutely.
I mean that's something that everybody should be thinking about as a business owner, doing exactly what you're doing. Like, how can I leverage this? Where's this going? How can I leverage it? But just to kind of put a fine point on the money mindset conversation, is there anything else that, again, I know our time is limited here, that you would just kind of call out that was really beneficial in helping you kind of go through this evolution of your money mindset that some of our listeners might also really benefit from thinking about or doing?
Yeah, I think even from a starting place, just taking the time to think about like what are my like writing down what are my beliefs about money, or working with
Mm-hmm.
ChatGPT and Claude, and
Mm-hmm.
making a money
Mm-hmm.
mindset coach, which I also have, and has
There you
been
go.
game changer. But yeah, figuring
Mm-hmm.
out like what are your thoughts, trying to dive in and figure out why, and then if there's anything that you do want to like change and shift, then like figuring out what are like your daily practices or like rituals to make small changes, because like none of these things are going to happen like overnight, but I do think like acknowledging where you are and where you want to go is definitely like, I think, a great place to start.
I love that. Yeah, so everybody's busy, but what I'm hearing is, and correct me if this is wrong, take a second, pause,
Yeah.
look inside, what interrogate those beliefs that you have around money and make sure that these are the beliefs that you actually want to have, that they align with the
Yeah.
life that you want to have.
Yeah, and I think along that, like thinking of like what is your dream life? Because I think so many people just like assume that your life has to be some certain way, and I just think there's like so much more to it, and it doesn't need to be like in a set. Like it can be whatever you want it to be, but you have to decide what your dreams are.
Yeah, and it does flow from that. Like there's a great talk by Arnold Schwarzenegger where he talks about like his five sort of principles for leading a successful life. And the very first one is like have a vision. He's like, I came from
Yeah,
Austria, but I had a clear vision that I wanted to be in America. I wanted to be bodybuilding. And he's like, when you have that vision, everything else flows. You know what you're going to say yes to, you know what you're going to say no to, because you know the direction that you're heading. And conversely, if you don't have that vision, you're like a ship leaving the harbor that doesn't even know where it's going. So obviously,
right.
you're just going to be tossed about. Um, so, okay. And I know, again, we've kind of, and I knew the conversation would do this. We've organically kind of shifted between money mindset and talking about AI, which is a tool. Let's just lean in now for the next few minutes, at least, on tools, because that's something, again, in the pre-interview, you were like,
Hmm.
the mindset toward tools is very
Hmm.
important. Why is that such an important topic for you, Mycah?
Yeah, I think that to me leans into figuring out, like, as you know, as a business owner, what are the things that you do best and that you love and are like kind of like your zone of genius, and
Mm-hmm.
then anything else can you automate, can you delegate, can you outsource? um and I think, though, like, starting with that can be just a really powerful way to kind of be like, okay, like, it's less about like what are the exact tools. I mean, yeah, you have to get there eventually, but
Mm-hmm.
realizing that, like, so many, I mean, even to your, like, to what you do, like making a timeline for a wedding, can any planner do that manually? Yeah, of course.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Mm-hmm.
otherwise, I don't know if they couldn't have ever done that. I don't they probably would not be a planner. So, like, they have
Right.
that skill, they're probably really good at it, but also there's probably a way to do it better, faster, more strategic, especially these things that you're doing day after day, week after week. Like, why would you reinvent the wheel 1,000 times? That makes no sense.
I agree. Yeah, it's funny. There's an anecdote, and I'll tell it very, very briefly, that Steve Jobs used to quote. He said they did this study across all of the animals on Earth, and they studied locomotive efficiency. In other words, which animal could go the furthest with the least investment of energy.
Hmm.
And I think it was the condor that like came in the number one slot, right? They
Huh.
could just go the furthest, and human beings were way down, like way down on the list. And somebody, he said, had the presence of mind to go back and redo the study, but to examine the scenario where a human being is on a bicycle, where a human being is using a tool, and the human being blows everything else out of the water.
Hmm.
And he was giving the anecdote in reference to the notion of like how powerful the computer is as a tool and how
Yeah.
much that can like augment human potential. But I
Right.
think the lesson applies just in general to tools, right?
Yeah.
Like to software, to
Yeah.
AI, to having the right computer, whatever. But
Hmm. Yeah, tools, and yeah, like efficiency. I'm obsessed with efficiency. Like, one of my best friends and I feel like we're kind of menaces. Anytime we're going to a store, we're just like always talking to each other about like, oh, they should do this, they should do this. Like, it doesn't make sense to have this there, because like I'm just always thinking about like what are the tiny things that you can do to make something like more efficient, and like not to become a robot, but it's so like so you can lean in and do the things that like you love the most. And if we're talking about work, like, why would I work 40 hours if I could get the same amount of work done in 30 hours, and then I could have 10 more hours with my family or friends or hobbies or passions or traveling or like whatever it is. Like, this is not necessarily only about like doing more work, but it's like doing your same work better and more efficiently so you can live your life also. And I think that's like kind of what's one of my other like big motivators, where I'm like, I love to work, I really do, but also I love a lot of other things, and I don't want to work 24/7, and I won't.
I love that, Mycah. And even if you are going to work 40 hours, to pack as much efficiency into that as possible
Yeah, yeah, do
is,
40
the
and
name of the
not
game too.
60.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
right.
like, no, yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And I'm gonna do a quick plug here for Timeline Genius for all of
Yeah.
our planners out there, because it's just so naturally on point with what we're talking about. Like, we've studied with our planner customers, we've gone out and done the research, and we've seen that they're doing their timelines in 65% less time. And that's not the only benefit. Like, it, as with a lot of other things in life, good things kind of go together. It's so when you're saving time, you're also, with Timeline Genius, putting forth a higher level of professionalism. You're also
Hmm.
reclaiming some of that peace of mind because
Hmm.
you're organized and on top. But just from a time saving standpoint, I do think there's a mindset here, because, and you probably see this as well. I know you do coaching, and we're going to talk about that more, but I think people look and they're like, okay, if I'm going to invest X dollars a month, they know, oh, X dollars a month is X dollars. I can see it, feel it, touch it on the screen, whatever. But you have to think like, okay, well, how many hours of your time are going into a given workflow? In Timeline Genius's case, timelines, you might be spending, according to our research, 100 hours a year just doing your timelines. What's it worth to you? What's an hour of your time worth? What's it worth if you can
Yeah.
reclaim 65% of that time? So if folks are
Yeah.
interested in seeing Timeline Genius, my shameless plug here, timelinegenius.com, watch the video, start a free trial. Your mind will be blown if you're a wedding planner. For you, Mycah, Are there any um, specific tech hacks? Are there any general business software tools that you're like, I can't live without this? Like I know you mentioned Notion. My wife is a huge fan of Notion. Like, are there any other sort of pillars of your tech stack?
Yeah. I mean, ChatGPT and Claude, non-negotiable. One that I'm super in right now is called Whisper Flow,
Oh,
and
I've heard of that.
it's a free plugin, and you can just talk whatever you're saying, and it will type it out in like anywhere on your computer. So even last night, like
Ooh.
I have another business. I own a few properties, and someone I don't usually check my email late at night, but I was waiting for a lease signature to come in, and I saw she wrote back, and I was like, all right, it's a 2 sentence email reply, but instead of just typing it, which would, take me only 30 seconds, what if I talk it and then that will take me 10 seconds? I hit send, I'm done. I get to move on with my evening. You know what I mean? So it's like these little tiny things here and there. So
How does it integrate with your email? With Whisperflow, how does that integrate? Like,
you literally just, so yeah, I think you have to download something just called Whisper Flow, and then you
okay,
hit function spacebar, you talk, and then when you're done, you hit function spacebar again, and then it just populates it.
cool, love
It's
it. Oh, and
insane.
then you
Like,
copy paste into your. I've been looking for
no,
a good
it
like.
directly into your email, directly in your email, directly in wherever you want it.
Ah,
Yeah.
okay,
There's
I'm
no
on it.
extra steps.
I'm on
Yeah.
it.
You got it.
I'm
You got
on
to
it.
get it. It's free. Like, I
I'm
don't
on
get
it.
anything.
I'm on it. I've
Yeah.
been I've been going through these like hacks where like, sometimes I just want to paste in I just want to just dictate and have something recorded in there. I know there
That's
are
it.
other transcribing,
Yeah.
applications, but this sounds like I think it's like a lot of things. Like it needs to be done the right way to really
Yeah.
be helpful. I'm all over that. I feel like we're
Yeah.
just
This one
moving
is,
to like go ahead.
yeah, this one is like 99% good. Like, reread it to make sure
I
it
love
got
it.
the word,
Okay,
but yeah, it's
awesome,
good.
awesome.
Yeah.
No, I was just gonna say I'm a Star Trek junkie, like original and Star Trek Next Gen. I know I'm sort of showing my age here, but I feel like we're moving to like the Star Trek world where like they walk around the Enterprise and they just talk to the computer. They're like, computer, blah 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 blah, and then
Yes.
the computer is like this brain that's like, well, blah 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 blah. Like anything you ask it, it's like
I
I feel
mean,
like, yeah,
you can, like with Claude, like
yeah,
there's like a
yeah,
Claude connector to Notion, and then you can
yeah,
just dictate into there, and like you're
crazy.
literally just saying your idea and it happens. Like, this
Crazy.
already exists.
Yeah, it's just crazy. And
Yeah.
there is a trippy I hadn't used it. I saw this guy on a YouTube video a few months ago talking about it. This mode where you can have, ChatGPT say talk to you. It's
Yeah.
eerie. Like when you give
Yeah.
it a voice, you're like, ugh,
Yeah.
crazy. Anyway,
Yeah.
anything else that comes up? I mean, that's a great one. I'm so glad I asked because I'm selfishly gonna
Yeah.
get
I mean,
that one
that's
used
easy
for
and free
me.
for literally anyone. It
Yeah.
takes like 1 minute to get used to it. So, and I'm a big talker, so it's great for me. That one, yeah, like I said, ChatGPT Cloud. I've just gotten into
And
Notion this
Notion.
year.
Yeah. My
So
wife is
that's been a game changer.
obsessed.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
she
I need to
loves it.
become like a full lover of it.
Yeah.
And I mean, I really love my CRM. It's Dubsado. It's not any like, it's
Nice.
great.
Love
I
it.
don't know that it's
Yeah.
anything like revolutionary, but
Yeah.
that saves me a ton of time.
Absolutely. No, and shout out to Dubsado. I know there are
I love
people
their
like in
team.
our community that
Yeah.
use them as well. So,
Hmm.
um, Mycah, as always, this is so cool talking to you. I've enjoyed this.
So fun.
Yeah, absolutely. I know that you also do some coaching.
Hmm.
Can you talk to me a little bit about that? Who is your client in terms of coaching where like, okay, this is the person where I am going to like just change their life? Like who's your sort of champagne client?
Yeah, I would say um, a creative entrepreneur. I work mostly with women, but I like everyone, but primarily with women, usually ages like 24 to 40, who
Hmm.
are like already solid in their business. They've been doing things a couple years and they're ready to really take things to the next level. So, like, they just, again, with these systems, these automations, like a couple little tweaks here and there, like, are going to make all the difference. Like, even this summer, a month into working with one of my clients, she had made more money that month than the previous 12 months combined. Like,
Damn.
that's insane. So I think just like having an outside perspective come in and be like, and I'm very like action oriented and direct. So I think someone who is going to take action. Like we're not going to talk about this for 10 years. We're going to talk about it and we're going to get it done. So those are my favorite types of people to work with, who are like really hungry for change. They just kind of need like a little bit of guidance.
And how do you deliver that impact? Is it kind of working at all different levels of mindset, strategy, tactics, operation, like, or is there kind of one area that you tend to kind of really focus on?
Yeah, I would say it's usually a mixture of. It usually starts with like getting clear on what their goals are, so then we can kind
Mm,
of like work it backwards from there.
yeah, yeah.
Um, which is usually a mixture of mindset and strategy. And
Hmm.
we do like video chat, and then we have ongoing like Voxer access, so they can text or voice memo me throughout the month, which is super fun. So that's my favorite.
Super, super cool. You also teased a freebie in the
Yes.
pre-interview. Do you have a freebie
Yeah.
for?
I do. Yeah. I have a money mindset freebie, no strings attached. It's just micahbain.com/money. And then it just like guides you through a little bit of an exercise to be like, okay, where are you? Where do you want to go? So that could be like a helpful way in just like turning the dial a little bit on your journey.
Um, Love that, and we'll post that in the show notes. I have one more question for you, Mycah, and this is a question that I ask every single guest. I've done it since I never really set out to have this be the case, but it just from episode one till now has always, kind of come up. Um, if you could give one piece of advice to everybody listening right now, Mycah, based on all of your professional and personal experience that would help them as much as possible in their professional, pursuit of their professional dreams, what would your piece of advice be?
I think it would be getting really clear on your why. Like, why are you doing this? Why are you serving the people you're serving? Why, like, you could do anything. You could quit your business. You could start a new business. You could get a new job. So I think the more clear you are on your why, I think that will help you grow in your business, like, be more aligned in your personal life, and then also like help you work with the clients that are the right ones for you.
I love that. And what a great place to leave it. If people want to get in touch with you, Mycah, what is the best way for them to reach out and connect?
I love hanging out on Instagram at Mycah Bain Photo. And yeah, send me a DM. We'll chat.
Mycah, on behalf of the Timeline Genius community and all of our Wedding Industry Insider podcast listeners, thank you for taking time to share your wisdom and experience with us. We really appreciate it. It's been a pleasure.
Thanks, Eddie. Appreciate it.